Behind the city of Morogoro stands the Uluguru Mountains, stately and proud, never changing. Today we climbed this mountain. What was I thinking? We began our trip at 7:30 in the morning, escorted by Mr. Amani. About 30 minutes into our climb, we stopped at one of Mr. Amani's 2 mountain homes. Here he lives part-time with wife number 1 and their children. She was cooking outside over an open fire, preparing hotcakes for us. They were delicious. The view from his humble home on the mountainside is priceless. Mr. Amani's son, Juma, son with wife number 2, who lives on another mountain peak, joined our hike. Now the hike got serious. We followed the road until it was no longer a road. We took a shortcut path where the weeds grew higher than my head and the path was narrow. We passed a small Christian church where services are still held every Sunday. Many people passed us as they traveled down the mountain, most of them carrying produce to sell at the market. A few were going to the market to buy. We passed many mud and stick houses, usually with chickens and goats in the yard. Sometime the homeowners had dug steps into the steep incline to get from their yard to their garden or other crop above their home. We asked if we could use their steps, and they always said yes. Laundry had been laid to dry on some bushes. When Rick and Lynn proposed this hike, they are serious hikers, I told them I was afraid I'd hold them back, but Phil was on a trip with Edson and I had nothing else to do. Rick said he'd walk behind me and poke me with a stick if needed, and I honestly thought he was going to have to use that stick. The temperature and the humidity got higher and higher. At times I had to use my hands to pull myself up. I thought, what have I gotten myself into now? We saw drop-dead gorgeous scenery. Waterfalls, terraced areas planted with various crops, and lovely flowers and trees. A group of young people from Canada passed us. With my eyes swimming, ears pounding, thighs aching, heart pumping, and lungs screaming, we carried on. I wanted to lie down, but I was too afraid of the creepy crawly things that might be in the grass. I kept thinking, can't they see I'm about to die here? In the distance we could see the peak where we were headed, but it still seemed so far away, and our path was not as the crow flies. We took many photographs. The battery fell out of Lynn's camera, and the hike was halted while everyone looked for the battery. Everyone except me. I was huffing and puffing with my head between my knees, trying not to throw up. I'm telling the truth. All too soon, the sharp-eyed Juma held up the missing battery, and we were on our way again. Finally, we crossed a stream, and 4.5 hours after we left our house, we were there. There is a mountain peak with an old stone structure built in 1911 by a group of Germans. The group of young people from Canada who passed us earlier had long been there. They greeted us with such cheeriness and compassion, I felt like strangling them. One of their guides, Godfrey, wanted to practice his English. He was such a nice kid and I really enjoyed talking to him, but frankly I was far too exhausted to discuss American politics and history just then. I took a nap. We stayed at the top for 2 hours. I kept saying, I think I could stay here forever. Everyone thought I was talking about the view, but what I really meant was that I didn't think I could possibly start the return trip. We ate lunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and trail mix. I was ravenous, and it was delicious. Mr. Amani asked us if we'd like to meet his 92-year-old grandmother. We said, of course. He led us up yet another 45-degree path to a mud and stick structure and invited us into the house. She was lying on a pad smoking a cigarette. Mr. Amani asked us to take her picture. I gave her a piece of candy, which she liked. The trip down was much faster. In fact, we only stopped twice for a short rest break. Again, we stopped at wife number 1's house and had a banana. Mr. Amani asked us if we'd like to hike to wife number 2's house next Saturday, but I've had my mountain hiking for the foreseeable future, and I graciously declined.